Hey guys, welcome back to another installment of HairTube, and today we're here with Sinead. Sinead's our model today. Really exciting day today because we're actually going to do a complete transformation on Sinead today. She's come in with a photo of like a reference photo for us to go by, and essentially we're going to do something chin length and blonde. So partnered with my beautiful wife and colour director here at Access, Michelle. We're going to be transforming Sinead today. I'm really excited about this and looking forward to sharing it with you all because I want you to see how a cut and colour can actually completely reinvent someone's look and change their life. Sinead's quite an accomplished model. She's got quite a large profile, and it's at a point in her career where she's like, you know what, I want to do something a bit different so I can reinvent myself and sort of, you know, get a little bit of traction and have some point of difference in a marketplace when she's going for castings and model calls. So I hope you guys look forward to watching because this is really exciting. So we're going to get started. You excited?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
She's cool. Let's go. So obviously we're going to cut Sinead's hair off today, but as you can see we've separated the hair in two and we've tied it a certain way because what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to send this hair to an amazing organisation called Sustainable Salons Australia, and they are now the largest donator of ponytails, I believe, in the Southern Hemisphere, which is huge. And there's multiple uses for them. Some of the uses are they make hair booms, which sop up oil in our oceans when unfortunately it gets spilt. And they can also donate it to a charity or an organisation that creates wigs for young girls with alopecia, or they're having treatment for various things that make their hair fall out. So I think it's nice to be able to do this and send it somewhere rather than just lop it off and ends up on the floor into the bin. So here goes nothing. Ready? Even that looks nice. Look good. Alright, so I'm going to take Sinead over to the basin, but we're not going to shampoo it too much because obviously she's having on-scalp lightener. We don't want to sensitise the scalp, so it's going to be a quick shampoo. I'll get over back here and we'll start the haircut. Alright, so Sinead's hair, we're probably going to aim for somewhere like just on the chin because I think that's most complimentary for her. And then again, I think today the focus is going to be to make sure that we create the look, but we don't want to make something real super busy. So we start with, you know, when you have a dramatic change with the haircut and the colour, I think that I don't want to use the word safe, but you don't want to do like lots of layering, lots of this, lots of that, and then colour it because it starts to become quite overwhelming for people. And I think you can make it look too busy. So we're going to do a really versatile short shape, and then we'll see how we go with the colour afterwards. And I may make a few alterations then, but I think it'll be perfect. So now you know what it looks like with a lob.
Mm. I feel like I'm just having like a really early midlife crisis.
So you can see under here, Sinead come in early this week and she just had a little test patch done just so we can gauge how well her hair's going to lighten. Just cut there for a sec, Jimmy. Okay, so I've sectioned the hair up. You can actually see under here, Sinead came in earlier in the week and Michelle did a little test strand just to see how well the hair would lighten. I'm just going to grab the dryer, I'm just going to take a little bit of moisture out. Something I like to do, just when it's too wet, it's just a little bit hard for me to see any movement that might appear. So just taking that little bit of moisture out is a really, really big help. It's my weapon of choice today. Yes. I think so. Chin down just a little bit. Perfect. Thank you. Beautiful. Hair's so straight. Which I guess has its challenges. Beautiful. How'd you get the scar on the back of your head?
I was dropped. as
You
a
were dropped?
child.
Now we know what's wrong, huh?
Mm.
I got dropped too.
Mm.
Can't you tell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good to see.
You see, these are the reasons why I like to dry the hair off. Just you can see there's a little bump in there, and These are all really important elements of someone's scalp and the way that their hair grows that we need to take into consideration. Otherwise, they can become quite problematic if you haven't identified them before you start. So, drying the hair off. I mean, the hair's still wet, but it's just damp. Also, by taking some of the moisture out of the hair, it actually makes it a little bit lighter, so we can see how much it's going to spring up. It's incredible. Spunky Brewster. Last section in our baseline. Just like to, on the last section, just very gently press it against the neck just to check for graduation underneath. And if there's any like that there, we just nick that out from underneath. That's the back done. So we're going to work the sides into the back. So just in small sections, we're going to bring them all back. I just want to leave it longer towards the front, which is why I choose to do it that way. And I'm just going to start point cutting now because I've got a strong foundation under there and I actually want to create some texture and some softness in the ends of the hair. So we're going to point cut the sides in. And you can see that I'm now holding it between my fingers. It's really important when you get to the sides that you over direct it. We don't want to cut it round. We need to make sure that we're cutting this within that rectangle head shape. Really putting some nice texture on top of that strong foundation there, yeah? How you feeling, Sinead?
Good.
Hey?
Different.
It's looking really great. I like that. I think this is going to complement your face. You've got a nice long neck, so look good too. Just cut off that excess length first, and then we'll just chip that all in. Now I'm going to pull this last section back essentially all at once, and the reason why I'm happy to do that and comfortable doing that rather is because if that's not as accurate as what it should be, that's okay, because I'm going to clean it up when we come to the side. This is all about making sure that between here and here we get that nice kick coming forward. If you try and cut it on the side here, sometimes you can end up with a little lump underneath the ear, which is not nice. Going to cut this excess length off blunt, and then we'll go back and we'll point cut it. You can see I left it quite long there, and I'm going to show you why in a sec, because when we get to the side It's actually going to be recut, so you can be a little bit casual about that, provided you're still bringing it back and following that same guide. Super, super sharp scissors. Well, thanks to the guys at Excellent Edges in Australia, keeping it sharp for me. Cool. So the last section when we brought the sides to the back, what I said, you didn't have to worry too much about this because we're going to cut it again. But here's the critical part here. So this is the part that if we don't over direct, we don't get it right. Sometimes it can go straight up and then dip down. So for me, that's why I bring the sides into the back. If you could look in the mirror for me, Sinead, that'd be great. Yep, that's good. Just keep your head like that. I'm going to spin you this way. So just going to take a section here. You can see where we're going to connect it. Just going to connect it through here. Don't want it to be too long towards the front because that's not the sort of look we're going for today, but again here where the ear is can be problematic again if you're not careful. And then we're going to, once we know that's sitting well, we take that excess length off. And again, cutting that first foundation underneath, we'll keep it strong, and then I'll point cut the top in. Cool. Repeat on the other side. This way. Thanks. Ooh, it's starting to get real now. You don't have as much hair on this side of your head either. It's interesting. Excess. Again, this is a critical part, and make sure we don't get that lift over the ear. Let me just get this look straight in for me. Just Done. All right. Now let's find where your preferred side to part is, because I notice that you love to flick it this way. Yeah? Sweet, we're going to keep it that way then. See how good you look? What about me, mate? Are we ready to roll again?
And action.
All right, so our back and sides are done. What we're going to do in the front here is we're going to add a simple element just to allow some flexibility with the styling. Sinead prefers to part that way. You can see why it looks natural that way. It has that sort of natural lift. But we're just going to give it just a little bit of shape here, so that we've got a little bit of variation. And we're going to do what's called long graduation, so a diagonal forward line. And then projecting it below 90 degrees. That makes a graduation. And then we're just going to over direct it to retain length, because we don't want to cut those points out. Yeah? You keep doing that till you run out of hair. I'll give you another view from this side. Might be a little bit of overlap from the shallow side. The shallow side is the side that has the least amount of hair, so deep and then shallow. Not shallow as in not much there. Now we'll pull that back. Cool. All right, so let's check the ends. Now that we've shifted the part, sometimes when you move it around a little bit, you may have to make little adjustments. Let's put it back around this way. We definitely going to rock this out. It's amazing for your face shape. Amazing. Done. Right, so now we're going to lay the top a little bit. Just a wee bit. All good, Jimmy? So I'm going to create a little bit of variation in the top. So making sure we leave that, the ends fall out. Create some layering through the back. guess the most important part about doing this layering is just making sure that you're not cutting into the ends as such. Just on it, you can see that they all fall out, so they remain full. And then we're just going to go a little bit of increase straight through the middle, using our guideline in the back, and just level that out. Increase, everything's coming back to this parting. You'll run out of hair quite quickly, so don't go chasing it. It's not there, it's not there. And then today we're going to use a scissor called a crocodile to add texture, because we want this to be quite edgy and sort of choppy, and because of the density of the hair, this is a time when some of those tools are good to use, because it would take us forever to point cut it. So I'll show you that. So finding our part again, back to where our layering was, and we're really going to be quite heavy-handed with these. We want to really break up the top so it's light. I think I missed a bit. I did. I think we want a very textured look. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that we're having a big change today with cut and colour. So even though the shape is not too busy, that doesn't mean that you can't have, when I mean busy, it doesn't have lots of layering, doesn't have, you know, fringes, you know, lots of different elements. One element that you can always add and you can customise it is texture. And I often talk about there's many ways to create texture, and I'm using these amazing scissors today to do it. Looks good. Last section here on the side, and then we're going to take some of the bulk out underneath, and that will be all until after the colour. I'm starting to get really excited for you, Sinead. Like, I can just see this already. I can already picture it in my mind. Blonde. Chin down. Thank you. So underneath here, really being quite strong with the texture. Amazing scissors. I love the texture, it looks amazing. Right, let's dry you off. So I'm going to dry Sinead's hair off. We'll do the colour. I'm not going to blow dry it and check it like I normally would. We're going to do the colour now. So I dry it off, I'm going to get Michelle over. She's going to have a chat to you about what she's going to do. Once the colour's rinsed, I'll style it, and then we'll go back and revisit, make sure the haircut's great. How you feeling?
Good.
Great. So haircut's 95% done. So after the colour, obviously we're going to blow dry it, but more important to mention after the colour, and especially when lightening and doing a global lightening application, is the length, texture, porosity of hair all changes. So that's obviously going to affect the way the hair sits. So I'm going to leave it at 90% and introduce Michelle, if she's there. Come in, Michelle.
Hi.
Michelle, for those who don't know, this is my beautiful wife. Love you so much.
So lucky.
Who puts up with me when I'm grumpy all the time. So Michelle's going to do Sinead's colour today, so I'll let her have a little bit of a chat to you about that. And for now, for me, that's goodbye. So I gave Michelle a photo. It was a photo I found on Instagram, actually, of an Australian model. Her name's Micah. Is it Micah? Mika? Micah Gianelli. Amazing, amazing. So yeah, I gave Michelle a brief. Michelle, I'll have a bit of a chat to you about what that is and what's involved in that, but I mean, something we need to make clear that when we lighten hair, there's an unknown, and Michelle's been a colourist a long time, there's a lot of unknowns with that. So although we've got an inspiration or a picture that we're using as a guide, I think it's fair enough to say that, you know, it's quite unpredictable, wouldn't you say? We just don't know what's going on.
So our aim is platinum blonde. So at the moment, Sinead's got some old, very, very old existing highlights through the ends. It's very minimal.
Is there base colour in here? Or?
No. So it'll be a virgin application. We're going to aim to get it as light as possible. As Adam said, it's going to be, could be a few variables. We'll work with what we've got. But in the beginning, we're going to lighten it and see how we go. Again,
it's no different to you guys. I mean, we are faced with the things that you guys are faced with every day. Have a client come in, I want to be blonde. It's like, well, you know, you make a guesstimation from based on your experiences from before. So we'll get stuck into it. I'll leave Michelle to it. Throughout the application, Michelle will tell you what she's doing and explain why she's chose to do it that way. It will be on time lapse, so we're not going to stand here for an hour so you can see the application, but we'll be as transparent as we can, and she'll let you know about all the products you need to use to do the same thing in your salon. Let's go.
Cool. Okay, so I've sectioned the hair up, ready to go. I'm going to be doing a virgin application using Light Master with some Bond Ultimate. Bond Ultimate will help protect the hair while lightening. We want to keep it in its best possible condition. With my sections, I've just done my basic 4 sections, and I will go through and do fine sections with using some foil to help keep some heat while lightening, and I find that this gives me a much more even result. I'll do the mid-lengths and ends first, and then I'll go back later on and do the roots. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just using some foil to separate the hair, just doing the mid-lengths and ends. I'm using Light Master and 30 Vol with the Bond Ultimate. We will continue right up to the top, and then I'll come around the sides and continue with the sides there.
some big bowl cutting. I've been thoroughly enjoying this.
At the top here, as you can see, I've just worked in sort of my cobweb sections, but coming up to the top, I'm still just working on a diagonal. So with processing, I will lighten the ends until I'm nearly at my desired level, and then I'll go through, take all the foils out, and then apply to the roots. Again, starting from the back section, so where I applied first, and then we'll allow the roots to process, and then we'll get it all rinsed, ready for toning. Application's all finished. Now we'll just wait a few more minutes for the ends at the back to process, and then we'll go through, take the foils out and apply the light master with 6% and with the Bond Ultimate to the roots, starting at the back. Once those front sections are ready, we'll do the same for that as well. Stay tuned.
You can see Michelle's done these amazing foil packets, and can you just explain why you're removing them?
So the ends have lightened really well, very evenly. So now I'm going to go back and apply to the roots, and then wait for the roots to lighten to the desired level.
Yeah, right. I was saying off camera, I think being a colorist doesn't only require extreme skill, but I mean, you have to be extremely disciplined. I mean, it would have been so easy just to really casually apply the lightener to the ends, and you can see that there's a reason why Michelle has done it this way, because it allows a lot more control. So you can see that now she's applying to the back, which is obviously where she applied first. She's pulled it out and she's putting it back onto the root, but she can allow this to continue to process the way it was in the foil with some elevated heat. And yeah, it's just, and I often use the term, that's an intelligent way of doing it. So I'm glad that you're doing it, not me though. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. So what would you say would be the total processing time for this application? Is it just depends on the type of hair, or?
Yeah, definitely.
Is it all visual?
Pretty much, especially for those ends. Now I'm going to, once I put the roots on, I'll check the front. But what I'm aiming for now is for those roots to match the ends. That way, if the ends haven't quite lightened as much as we'd like them to, I can match them up much easier and not have the roots super light because of the heat band there.
So on the ends you use Light Master, Bond Ultimate and 30.
Yep.
Is it the same on the roots?
No, I'm using 20 on the roots.
Okay, so Light Master, Bond Ultimate and 20.
Yep.
Great. So for those who don't know, I mean, I'm sure the people out there probably know, why is it that you've done 30 on the ends and 6 on the scalp?
Well, because the ends. Sorry. The reason why I use 20 on the scalp, I just find it's a little bit gentler on the roots. Being the heat on the scalp will give me enough efficient lightening. On the ends, no heat, that's why I use the foil, and I just like to push the ends a little bit further just to make sure they get that extra lightness.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll leave you to it. And
Thanks.
how are you feeling? You all right? Big day today?
Yeah.
So far, you guys, I mean, obviously you were on a time lapse, but we arrived in salon this morning. We got started about 10:30. It's now 2 o'clock, so we've been going for a few hours. And, you know, again, we're working at salon speed, so if Sinead was coming to the salon, as she is now, even on a full day with clients, this is how Michelle would lighten her hair, because we believe that, especially when you're lighting for the first time, it's something you do slowly. It would be booked in a certain way, so there's nothing going on off camera that you're not seeing. It's being shot how it's being applied, so we'll catch you guys a little bit later on. You can see the end result.
So I'm just finishing my last section here, applying to the roots. I'm just going to keep a visual eye on it to match the ends, anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes, I'd say. And then once I rinse it, I will then determine what I'm going to tone with. Until then, we'll just keep going and keep an eye on it.
All right, look who's back. You recognise this girl? Michelle, come in here. Let's tell us what you ended up doing. Like, we're a little bit uncertain of how light we're going to get it, but I'm quite impressed. So tell us a little bit about what you did post lightening it, and I'm going to start drying it off.
Okay, so after we rinsed, I actually did, I gave it light shampoo, I did my toner, and with my toner I actually added the Bond Ultimate #1 in there again, and then processed that, rinsed, and then did step 2 in the Bond Ultimate. Again,
Awesome.
Shampooed, conditioned out, ready for styling.
All right, let's go, let's style it. So a little quick skim over the haircut. I'm going to give it a quick check, and then we're going to duck straight into the styling. I mentioned to you guys before, often, you know, especially when you're doing restyles and then colour afterwards, it moves. So really important that you check it. That's what I'm going to do. Looks pretty balanced, but we'll give it a quick check anyway. Life begins today for you, darling. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. Let's move around this way. So everyone can see. So I think it's been a big day, but I mean a pretty amazing transformation. Started out with really long hair. We had some existing balayage on the ends. It was what we considered to be virgin hair, mid-lengths and roots, and which can sometimes make it a little bit easier, but sometimes it can be a little bit harder because, as Michelle mentioned, when you're lightening hair, you know, you draw on your experience as a colorist. And you can make assumptions based on, you know, previous colouring experiences or you know, times you may have done something similar. But there's just that element of unknown. You just don't actually know how it's going to react, and I'm surprised that it's come up so clean and light after just one application, which I think is pretty amazing. Testament to the quality of the products we're using. We use the Light Master from Matrix with Bond Ultimate, which is incredible product. And one thing that I'm really impressed with is the condition. The condition's great. Nailed it. Big day for you. Your ass must be sore.
Yeah.
Been sitting on it all day. So I removed a lot of the bulk from underneath with the Excellent Edges Crocodile, but as I'm working towards the top, I like to go back to a more traditional straight blade, especially for the external areas. We don't want to create any sort of ripped or torn pieces that are seen from the top. It's okay to lighten from underneath quite aggressively, but when I come through to do these top areas, I like to do it with my straight blades. You guys have seen me do that many times. And what I'm looking for when I'm going through here is just, I'm looking for areas that look thick, and I'm also using my hands to feel where it, may be a little bit unbalanced in terms of its density. And I believe I had a conversation with Michelle earlier. We're going to style it with a little bit of wave because we're off to do a photo shoot now with Sinead, and you guys are going to get to see behind the scenes in that as well. So you'll get to see us with the photographer. We just thought it was too good an opportunity to pass up, to do such an amazing transformation and not have it professionally photographed afterwards. So more to come. Sinead is going to sleep very good tonight. All right. How you feeling?
Good.
Amazing. Let's spin you around and remove this and introduce to the world Sinead Carpenter 2.0. Beautiful. So been here for 5 hours. Get in here, you. Don't stay over there. Been here almost all day. It's now 4:30. We got here at 10:30. This has been a marathon day. So quickly recap. It's known in a lot of parts of the world as a nice club bob, which is really strong, tucked behind the ears, minimal layering, working with texture. You can see I've just put a little bit of shape in there, and Michelle's just tonged it just to give it a little bit of movement because we're off to do the shoot now. What we started with on the ends, we did Light Master 30 in Bond.
Yep.
Then we removed the foils, we went back in, Michelle put the root on. She did Light Master in 6 with Bond. We processed it. The toner was?
It's colour sync, so a quarter SPA, a quarter SPV, a quarter 10V, and a quarter 10A.
Nice cocktail, but
Yes.
we'll have it at the bottom of the video anyway in the description. You can follow it again. As always, thanks very much for tuning in. Sinead, you look amazing. I'm going to take all the
Amazing.
credit. Thanks to wifey.
Thank you.
Remember, behind every great man is a great woman, and she's it. This is pretty good. I could have done it really. So I couldn't. Stay tuned for the behind the scenes video of the photo shoots happening this afternoon. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, welcome to the behind the scenes video. Following on from the cut and colour we did on Sinead, I'd like to introduce you to Robert Copper, incredible award-winning photographer. He's allowed us into his private studio here in Canberra today, and we're going to allow you behind the scenes footage of the way we work the model with the photographer and how we do our photo shoots, and you're going to get to see us create and mould the shape into the hair that we did back in the salon. Rob, can you give us a bit of an insight into you know, how long you've been a photographer, what you've done and what you plan on doing with Sinead today?
Sure. Well, I've been photographing for around 15 years and professionally for about 10. Today what we're going to do with Sinead is I think I'm going to have a beauty dish on her, showcasing obviously the hair and the makeup, and then we'll try to get some hair movement happening as well as we go along.
Awesome.
You'll be able to see this, I'll be capturing off the screen there, so you can see the images come up as we go.
Nice. It's probably worth mentioning that, as always, we have the amazing Amy Capita, the only makeup artist I work with. You're going to see her at work as well. If you want to see
We
her,
should actually bring
yeah,
her
yeah,
here.
we should actually.
Come on, Amy.
come on
Get in there,
over
Amy.
here.
Come on,
quick.
if I have to sell,
Sorry, we're
you have
interrupting
to sell.
Yeah, come on. This is the incredible Amy. Hi, Amy. Thanks for short notice. So Amy came in this morning, really early in the morning, about 8:30, and she did some nice makeup prior to the video. She's come today. Obviously, we've cut and coloured the hair. We've probably, you know, washed it a bit. Sinead ate a sandwich and did some other stuff. So she's done a touch up, changed her makeup a little bit. So I think it's important that you see how this all comes together. There's always multiple people that are involved. Often we only get the credit, but it's good to see the people that help me achieve those things that we do. And stay tuned. You're going to see more of their work. Thanks.